Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. Yeah, we're doing the old rain for 15 minutes, dry for 2 hours, rain for 15 minutes. I guess it's good for growing hay. You guys know I went to the car show and I brought home a bunch of toys, and that means I got to sort through these toys to figure out what I'm going to do with them. Are they parts or are they worthwhile? And I decided to start with the Big Red. This is a 200 ES 1984 vintage, and I like to kind of go through them and figure out what I have and what I'm going to do with it, and is it parts? Is it junk? What do I have here? Starting from the front, believe it or not, for a Big Red, especially the 250 ES, these forks, even though they're welded, they're really not in the worst shape that I've seen. But they are welded, so they are what they are. What these are known for is they kind of wear out in here. This side's welded too. And then this whole thing flops about. This really becomes wide, and quite honestly, a lot of times one side, the other, or both will just jump out. So they're welded, but they're there. And once again, they are fairly straight, and from a three-dimensional point of view, they're not torqued. The handlebars are pretty straight with the front tire, right? You don't have like the handlebars like this and the front tire like that. So they are what they are. Wire harness, hacked, and as a matter of fact, I think this was an aftermarket switch. It doesn't matter if it is or it isn't. I disconnected it, and I did check, and it has a very weak spark, but it does have a spark. Working our way back, the gas tank actually looks halfway decent. I mean, it's dented all to hell, and it's got, a spray bomb paint job, but it looks halfway decent. And if you run your fingers along it, I didn't feel on either side where it's rotted through. And so quite honestly, this tank could be cleaned up. If one wanted to get clever, you can actually use something to push some of this out. I don't know, on a 33-year-old machine, not quite sure that pays. About the engine, this side looks really nice. Plastic isn't hammered. It looks like a couple of times the clutch was adjusted. Part of the exhaust pipe is here, though it doesn't look like it's in very good shape. And I'm not quite sure what they got going on under the aluminum foil here. Front tire seems to hold air for a little while. Back tire holds air, but its match set is flat in the back. The rack is there, but it's broken up pretty good. This tire, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. Here, listen. When you step on it, it hisses, and obviously it doesn't hold air. This fender is mostly intact, which is a good thing. I'm not sure if this is the right headlight for it, or if it should be a different one. It came with it. The air cleaner cover was here, and that's what you got going on down in the air cleaner. There's a battery sitting in the holder. I guess that's a good sign. It did roll, so rolling it was good. The brakes, like all these, when you see them adjusted to the extreme like that. That means the brakes are about shot. It does have a trailer hitch. Once again, it did roll, and if you roll it and put it in gear, it stops. The shifter is not welded, which is a good thing. Here's the shifter cover. It came empty. That's the hardware to put it back on. And he told me the starter solenoid is shot, so I didn't even bother with it. I'm just using the switch in the box. And if you turn the switch in the box, it does go round and round. I did a quick compression test on it. And it comes in right at 90. And to get it up to 90, I had to put oil in the cylinder. Without oil in the cylinder, it was coming in at about 35. Well, it was coming in at 40 without oil. So a wet compression check, it's coming in about 90. A dry compression check, it's coming in at about 40. So this thing would run. I checked the spark, and it like sparked once, and then it didn't spark. And then I waited a little while, I checked it again, it like sparked once, and then it wouldn't spark. So that's when I disconnected the switch here. Seems that when they do that one spark and stop sparking, it seems that a lot of times it's turned off, or you got something weird going on in the switch. About wiring, this is the switch. It's a 4-wire model. Red is hot, coming from the battery. Then typically I'm thinking they came out of this. I don't know. I'd have to break the switch open, but I think they came out of this switch on the yellow, red, which is what you power this up with, and then from here you power up your lights and everything else. And I think green is always ground, and I think this black wire is for the off switch. If these two were shorted together, it would be permanently off. So anyway, so I took that out, and now I get a weak spark. What's next for me? Well, it's decision time, right? How much do I want to put into this? I normally like to hear them run, just to make sure they don't make bad sounds, just to make sure they go into gear and junk like that. So probably my next move is to get it started. But to do that, I got to pull the tank off. I got to pull this air filter assembly out of there and mess with the carburetor. Believe it or not, the carburetor, the choke works. If you move this, the choke works, which is nice, even though it's got a nasty, I don't know, could you guys see right here, it's got a nasty bend to it, but the choke works. This was a $100 deal. It was a lot of work to get it from the fairgrounds into my truck. A lot of work in the rain, getting soaked, water dripping down the back and neck and all that kind of stuff. So it was a $100 deal. This is typically what I look at when I pay somewhere around $150, less than $200 for them. This is normally the way I see them, find them, however you want to describe them. And it's a good parts machine, and it's an expensive machine to get running, should you decide to get it running. And if you do get it running, you got your headroom problem. And by that I mean how much, let's say you get it running and you put this Frankenstein fender on it, right? Frankenstein stitches here. Let's say you put that fender on it, you make sure the gas tank doesn't leak, you straighten out this rack situation such it's not falling off. There is no seat, so you got to come up with a seat. You got to come up with some kind of air filter situation, right? Because it's really not good for the motor to suck mud in like that. You got to do the recoil on it. I mean, I guess you could just do the battery, but you got to put a battery in it, or you got to put a recoil in it, or you got to put both in it. So a nice seat, a crappy seat is $50, right? Recoil. This would be if you want a unit to beat around the property, to tow a cart or whatever. I mean, you could put a kind of go with the tractor seat here, and once again, Frankenstein the fender on there. Mess around with the wires and get a headlight onto it. Sniff around until you find a recoil reasonable. Every once in a while, somebody will put a recoil starter for one of these things on a buy it now for $50. So you try to get a $50 recoil starter. The battery's another, I don't know, $30, $35. The tractor seat, hopefully you got one in your hoard, or you can get one somewhere reasonable. As a unit to run around the property on, you get it running, and you could probably turn it into a $300 resale unit. Annoying things like this tire. It's dry rotted, so you can fill it up with slime, or you could put a tube in it. So if you could get the tires to hold air, I think it'll run. I think it'll move. I think the tranny's okay. Don't know, haven't gotten that far, but I think it's okay. I guess you can turn it into like a $350, $400 on the right day with the moon in the right place. Once you put your tractor seat there. It's just too beat up to be worth too much more than that. It's worth more as a riding unit, to be honest with you, than it is to fix up for resale. And given that fact, that means you just get it running, get it stabilized, and use it that way. Came with a Suzuki key. I guess that's always a good thing. The dashboard's there, which is nice, though the light bulbs are out. See, the light bulbs are popped out. Right, 1, 2. I guess that's it. So, what's my next step? My next step, I actually have to take it apart and do something with the carburetor to fill up the oil, see if I can't get it started. And once it starts, bang it into gear, take it for a ride around back. That'll probably be my next move. I think I'll go through the trouble of getting this thing running. Alright folks, I hope you enjoyed this. Kind of gives you a little something to look at, starting at the front, working your way to the back. Doesn't have a taillight back here, does it? No. Anyway folks, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and please get out there and enjoy all your days. Bye now folks.